Hi and welcome to Rick's Garage. So today I'm doing a couple of jobs that need doing before I can start the car. One of which is replacing the gearbox oil. So yes, welcome back. I hope you've all had a great week. So yeah, today is just a couple of jobs that I've had on a list behind the camera. One of which is I need to put new gearbox oil into the Alfa. Now the correct oil, so I'm told, was this stuff, the Petronas Tutela transmission, which is 75 watt 80. This was provided to me by a specialist and allegedly it takes 2 litres, so this should be enough, but I will see how I get on. So yeah, that is the first thing I'm going to do today. The second thing is I need to refit these things which have been in my garage for months and months and months, yeah, which is the new chassis plates, whatever you want to call them. Now I bought these brand new, genuine Alfa Romeo, which are obviously old stock, but yeah, I got them brand new, and you know, to be fair, they did come powder coated, but there was a lot of chips off here and there, and you know, it wouldn't have been long until moisture got inside and just started to rust them. So what I did, I did toy with the idea of getting them blasted and repowder coated, but you know, in the end I just rubbed them down with a bit of a Scotch pad and I just repainted them myself. With this, of all things, I just used the gloss black Hammerite spray paint, and to be fair, it's done a good job. So yeah, it's just a little bit of extra protection before I put them on. It's not my first choice of paint, but as I say, to be fair, it's done a good job. So yeah, that's the second thing I'm going to do today. Okay, so for getting the oil into the gearbox, I've got a couple of methods that I could use. The first one being this, which is a fluid transfer pump. I got this well over 10 years ago for less than a tenner. I've used it countless times, particularly for using on automatic transmissions on BMWs. I could also use a funnel, but I'm not quite sure that'll be long enough to go from above yet, to be honest, so I think I'll end up using this. Using these is pretty much self-explanatory really. It works like a plunger. You just draw the fluid up and push it straight back out. Now the good thing about these is that you can take them to pieces as well. Every time I've used it, I take them to pieces and give them a good clean out, which stops cross-contamination between different grades of oil and types of fluids that you use it for. Now, as I know that the oil capacity is 2 litres, I'm going to put about 1.5 litres straight in without checking it, and then when I get to about 1.5 litres, then I'll start checking the level. But it should take all of it, I think. So this is going to be fairly difficult to get on camera, but I shall try my best. Okay, so when you come to refit your drain plug on your gearbox, what a lot of people do, and I've done it myself, is put some PTFE on the threads of the drain plug. That will help to seal and stop it from leaking. A lot of people are against that because they say that the PTFE can come away inside the gearbox oil and potentially do some damage. I've never had an issue in the past, but in this instance I'm not fitting any PTFE because it looks as though somebody has done it in the past. So I'm going to leave it as it is, and it shouldn't be an issue at all whatsoever. So yeah, you can choose to use PTFE if you wish. Okay, don't need to swing on that either. I shall torque that up properly once I get a torque spec for it. Okay guys, so as you can see there, that is the dipstick to the gearbox. On the dipstick you will get quite clearly some minimum and max markings, which I'm not sure you can see on camera. So yeah, there is the refill hole as well that the dipstick came out of. So what I'm going to do now is draw up some oil and push them straight in, nice and easy. Okay, so I'm just going to get some oil on the go now. Now, I remember the last time I used this, it can be fairly stiff to draw it up. After all, the oil is quite thick. So yeah, one thing I always do when I wash this thing out, guys, is obviously I completely disassemble it. I wash it with washing up liquid in a bowl in the garage, and then once I completely dry it out properly, I just give it a little misting of WD-40 just to keep the seal lubricated on the inside. So yeah, I don't saturate it, just a tiny mist. So yeah, I've kept it well, and it's lasted well over 10 years, and believe me when I say it's been used a lot. So yeah, I'm just going to draw up some of this oil now, and in fact it's drawing up a lot easier than I expected it to, and it should draw at least half of it in one go, which it does. I've got roughly half a litre in there. So yeah, there we go. Okay guys, I'm really sorry, but I just cannot get the camera in there for you to be able to see it. I have tried, and even if I can, I just can't get in there myself to get the job done. So yes, unfortunately you're going to have to watch blindly. But yeah, I've got the first half a litre going down inside there now. See, the problem I've got is my car's quite high on axle stands as well. If it was a bit lower, it'd be a little bit easier. Okay, so that's half a litre in. Let's go for another half. So just opening the second one. Now the thing is with transmission fluid, guys, if you spill it on your work clothes in excess, it will absolutely stink to high heaven. It lingers and you will not get rid of the stench even after you've washed your clothes. Now normally I keep my work clothes in the house, in the conservatory, but I can't even do that if I get transmission fluid on them, because my wife just moans at me. So yeah, just be careful what you're doing. Try not to get it all over your clothes in excess. So after this one, I think I'll put the dipstick back in and check to see if we've got anything showing on the indicator. So yeah, another little issue I'm having with this is the PVC tube that I've got on it is a little bit too thick to go actually inside the fill hole. So I'm having to just hold the tube up just against it. It's not too much of an issue though, but it's the first gearbox I've ever put fluid into with this pump where the tube doesn't actually go into the fill hole. Now I'm not sure, maybe you could fill the gearbox from underneath. I have looked. It is perfectly doable. Maybe you could get a bend the tube around the subframe and get on top of it, but it just looks a little more awkward, to be honest. It just looks far easier to do it from above. Okay, so I'm just going to check now, see if I've got anything showing on the dipstick. I don't think I will have yet, to be honest. Oh yeah, we have. It's roughly, don't know if you can see, that's the minimum mark, that's the maximum mark, and we're just about here. So yeah, I've got a little bit to go yet. This should be the last fill, I hope so, because this is the last of the oil. The McDonald's milkshake again. So So yeah, hopefully there should be enough. Okay, so this should be the last one. Come on, Rick. Find the hole. Right, so I'm not going to put all of this in. I'm going to put a bit in and then check the level. Where's the dipstick? And don't say he's in front of the camera. Okay, so we're just coming up to the coming on to the minimum mark now. So I think if we just put the rest of this in, it should be pretty much bang on the full mark. Okay, so in hindsight I could have just thrown in the full 2 litre capacity, but same as changing your engine oil, you don't just throw in the full capacity, you put in most of it and then check your levels. So it's just good practice really. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, I'm just on, almost on the max mark, so that's pretty much on point. Okay, so I've just let the oil settle a little bit for a couple of minutes and I'm just going to dip it again. So yeah, that's bang on. Okay, so there you go, that job is done. Give everything a wipe down. Got the dipstick back in the gearbox, so that's another thing ticked off. Okay, so now it's just time to fit the front subframe support plates together with the new hardware. Well, I say the new, everything's just been replated the same as everything else, so once that's on it should look great. Now the only potential issue I'm going to have here, as you can see, the front bolts that holds these plates on goes through the subframe into this bracket here for the wishbone. Now as you can clearly see, there is a gap there and the holes don't line up, so there's no way that the bolt is going to go through there, at least not without stripping the threads. So what I'm going to have to do is jack up the wishbone just here, raise it up, and hopefully that bracket will come down and the holes will align much better for me to get the bolt in. So let's give it a go. So as you could see, jacking up that wishbone worked an absolute treat for me. It aligned the holes up properly, enough for me to get the bolt inside. So yeah, onto the other side. Okay guys, so there you go, job done. Sorry it hasn't been, you know, mega exciting this week, but it's just a couple of jobs that needed to be done. Gearbox oil is now in, obviously. Now the chassis or subframe support plates, those are now on. I thought those front bolts would have been a little bit more tricky to get in, but you know, once I jacked the wishbones up, brought that bracket down, yeah, they went straight in, no problem at all. So yeah, 2 jobs that are now done. Next week is going to be the most exciting for me because I need to just put the exhaust system on and then I can start this bad boy up. So yeah, looking forward to it, but at the same time, I'm not going to lie, I'm shitting myself a little bit. So yeah, I've got the Wizard downpipes going on next week, and also I've done a modification, or I've ordered a modification for the Gearbox catback exhaust system. So yeah, stay tuned for that next week. As you can see, still currently underneath the car, staring at all this horrible rusted bracketry. That is the bottom support for the radiator. Very common to rust out, as I'm sure you're all aware. Obviously I've got a stainless one to go on that will be in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. So yeah, looking forward to getting rid of all this rustiness from underneath. So anyway, as always guys, thank you very much for tuning in. See you next week.